you will not hear from him, you will probably not see him. So this was basically giving up their child for good. And like as I mentioned, Hriday Pandit knew that he will not be able to live in separation from Nitai. But he was also bound by Vedic culture. He remembered the time when Dashrath Maharaj was in a similar situation, and following in that footsteps, he decided to give Nitai to this Brahman. And Nitai, he lives with this pilgrim Brahman. And as the news spread in Ekachakra, everybody was devastated because they loved Nitai to their like anything. And they were like, just people were running in all directions, screaming out, "Hey, come back, bring Nitai back. He does not even know how to cook. You take my son. My son is a very good cook." So people were willing to give their own child and bring back Nitai. But they were out of sight basically. But all Ekachakra residents were just running hither and thither looking for that Brahman to bring back Nitai. When the Brahman was leaving, he gave a deity of Murlidhar to Mother Padmavati. And so they were just constantly crying. Hriday Pandit and Mother Padmavati, they just could not hold themselves together. The only thing that was keeping their breath force going was the remembrances of Nitai. And Mother Padmavati, whenever she would be on the verge of total breakdown, she would go and take darshan of this deity of Murlidhar, and in that deity she would see a vision of her own Nitai. But that was good enough for 3 months, and then chanting the names of Nitai in his remembrance, just like how Dashrath Maharaj had left his body remembering Ram, Hriday Pandit left his earthly body thinking and chanting the names of Nitai. And soon after him, Mother Padmavati also left. Now I forgot to mention this, but Hriday Pandit and Mother Padmavati were also very dearly loved by all Ekachakra residents. After Nitai left, Hriday Pandit left, Mother Padmavati left. It was a very grief-stricken situation for all Ekachakra residents. And wherever they would go, they would be reminded of the pastimes with Nitai and his parents, Hriday Pandit and Mother Padmavati. And they figured that it was very difficult for them to live in separation and constantly reminded of their pastimes. So slowly everybody left that place. Then Ekachakra was, there was no more devotees or no more families living there. In the meantime, our Nitai is going around on pilgrimage with this Brahman. He was about 12 years old when this happened, and around that time was when Mahaprabhu had also appeared as the son of Sachi Mata and Jagannath Mishra, and at that point of time he had roared like a lion, but nobody knew that who roared or why this roar happened. Although he was on a pilgrimage with Brahman, and although he knew that he had appeared to establish the Sankirtan mission, he did not preach to anybody about Krishna or Krishna Prema, because he was in the mood of a servant. He was waiting for the instruction or the orders to come from his Lord and his Master, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So about 20 years later, he met Mahaprabhu in the house of Nandanacharya, and that's also a very sweet pastime how they met. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had asked a devotee to go, and Nitai was hiding in was it Advaita? No, not Advaitacharya's house. Yeah, and they met at Nandanacharya, and it was a very sweet, intimate meeting between the two brothers. I'm not going to go into the details because I'm trying to get to another pastime. One day in Srivas's house, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur and gave them a very special instruction. He said, listen Haridas Thakur, hear me Nityanand Prabhu. I want both of you to go and preach to every person you meet. Go from door to door, go from house to house, shop to shop, marketplace to marketplace. Go to the ghats, do not leave any place. Preach to every single person you meet that Krishna is your father, Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your real wealth. Take the names of Krishna, chant the names of Krishna, make Krishna your life and soul. Do not consider who is fit or who is unfit. Distribute this freely to every person you meet. Nityanand Prabhu was an Avaduta. Again, that's information I missed out on. He was in a very interesting, mischievously wild mood many times. So following the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, both Haridas Thakur and Nityanand Prabhu started preaching, and they were doing as instructed. They were going door to door, house to house. Now this was a very new thing. It had not been done before ever. And typically when a sannyasi or a mendicant comes to your house, you think that they have come for a donation. You give them a little, in those days you would give them a little rice and then close the door, and they would go on to the next door to do Madhukari. So when Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur would go, it's not that everybody was welcoming them with open arms. Oh yeah, thank you so much for this information. We were waiting for you, have a seat. There were some people who took it upon gladly, who understood the message and embraced it. But there were some who were very offensive, and there were some who were very rude. Like somebody said that these are actually robbers and they are coming to your house, and while they are talking to you, they are just trying to look for doors and windows so they can come and rob you in the night. And some people said, oh, okay, I know what you really want. All you want is some rice, here go, and then they would just close the door on them. Despite that, they continued. And one day they came across two brothers, Jagai and Madai. Jagai and Madai originally were from a Brahman family, but due to bad association, they had fallen down. So I'm going to use some strong language to communicate a message. They were the most fallen rascals. There was not a crime they had not committed. People would be sleeping inside the house. In the night, they would go and light up the house on fire. And that was their happiness and pleasure, just seeing people die in a burning house. They would rob, they would kill people, they would kill brahmanas, they were slaughtering cows, they were violating women. So as I said, there wasn't a crime, a sin that they had not committed. So Nityanand Prabhu thought that if I can make these two people devotees, then the glories of my Lord Chaitanya will spread everywhere. So he decides to approach Jagai and Madai, and Haridas Thakur reminds him, you sure you want to do this? And he's so confident. Now people are watching from a distance, because nobody wants to go close to Jagai and Madai. Jagai and Madai were so fallen that when people would look at them, they would go and bathe in the Ganges just to absolve themselves of the sin. That's how fallen they were. Karen, Ganges is a holy river in India, and when people commit sins, they go and take a dip, and it's supposed to remove the sins away. But there's a better way to absolve the sins. We'll come to that later. I'm sharing with you the tradition. So that's how sinful Jagai and Madai were. So Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur approached them, and they repeat the same message. Krishna is your father, Krishna is your mother. Take the names of Krishna, chant the names of Krishna, worship Krishna, make Krishna your life and soul. And Jagai and Madai, they become super angry, and they're about to hit and kill both Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. So Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur start to run to save themselves, to protect themselves. So it's like a Hollywood, Bollywood chase scene, you know. It's Haridas Thakur and Nityanand Prabhu running, and Jagai and Madai chasing them. And Jagai and Madai were like really big and huge. They were like, you know, they were taking intoxication, they were drinking liquor and eating meat, and they had these huge bulky bodies. So here's our frail Haridas Thakur and almost frail Nityanand Prabhu running and being chased by these two rogues. And Haridas Thakur, while running, is telling Nityanand, I don't know why I even listened to you. Like, you're clearly out of your mind. And you're a crazy fellow, Nityanand. And Nityanand Prabhu is telling him, I am not crazy. It's your Lord Gauranga who's crazy. He is the one who said, go preach to everybody and do not discriminate who's fit, who's unfit. I am not crazy. Your Lord Gauranga is crazy. And so while joking, they are running and they reach Srivas's house. Now, every day they would go out for the preaching mission, and every night at Srivas's house they would submit a daily report. Just like how we have a monthly Sankirtan report, they would give the daily preaching report. And during the preaching report, it came up, and Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga that time, he became very angry. He, you know, started coming in the mood of justice and was about to call Chakra. And Nityanand Prabhu said, no, my dear Lord, no. If you kill them, then how can I make them chant Krishna's holy name? So I request you that please do not kill them. And while this is going on, Haridas Thakur starts a friendly banter. He says, Advaitacharya, it's very difficult to be a travel partner in preaching to this Nityanand. He's a crazy guy, he's a wild fellow, and it's very difficult for me to follow what he's doing. He said, during the floods, during the monsoon time, when Ganges is overflowing and just swirling and swirling around, he jumps into the river. Then he grabs the tail of the crocodiles and rides on them, and he starts jumping on them. And all the while, I'm running besides on the bank, and I'm telling him, Nitai, come out, Nitai, come out. And then he just lays in and starts playing dead, and he starts going with the current wherever. And all this while, I'm trying to get him out of the water. And this way, you know, so on a light-hearted note, that day ended. So a few days later, Jagai and Madai's house was very close to the bank of Ganges river, where Nimai's house was also, where Srivas's house was there. And one day, Nimai, Gauranga, was going for his bath to river Ganges, and Jagai and Madai said, hey, you sing that kirtan every night? And they, you know, they used to, in an intoxicated state, they would just dance on the kirtan that they could overhear from Srivas's house. He said, tonight you sing for Mangal Chandi, and we will bring our instruments to play along with you. So Nimai did not pay any attention to them. He just went to the Ganges, took his bath, and came back home. Few days later, Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur were again on their preaching tour, and Jagai and Madai were there, and they came and they kind of stopped them, and they asked, who are you and where are you going? And Nityanand Prabhu replied that I am Avadut, and I am making this, I want, please, you know, he repeated the same message, that please take the names of Krishna, chant Krishna's name, and it breaks my heart to see you in this situation. So listening to this, Madai's eyes started burning with wrath. The last time around, Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur were successful in escaping. This time he had them. Madai picked up a clay pot and he struck Nityanand Prabhu on his forehead. And immediately Nityanand Prabhu started bleeding. So although he was bleeding, he was actually getting covered in blood all over, he still did not, you know, become angry, or he did not get upset. He preached again to Jagai and Madai that it breaks my heart to see you in this fallen sinful condition. Please take the names of Krishna, chant the names of Krishna. And seeing this form, this mood of Nityanand Prabhu, Jagai's heart started transforming, that here's a person who's been hit on his head, he's bleeding profusely, and still he is asking us to change our ways. So Madai is about to hit Nityanand Prabhu again, but Jagai grabs his hand and stops him. By now, the news has reached Lord Gauranga, and he appears on the scene very quickly along with his other associates. And I mean, he's like, his eyes were like coal, Mahaprabhu's eyes. And he goes, Chakra, Chakra, and the Sudarshan Chakra appears. And he's about to sever the head. So Nitai, he falls at the feet of Gauranga and he says, please my dear Lord, if you're going to kill them, then you might as well kill everybody. Because pretty much everybody is like them, to some degree or the other. Mahaprabhu is still not pacified. Then he said, actually I am not hurt at all. There is a little blood, but I am totally fine. I am not in pain. I'm assuring you I am not in pain. Gauranga is still not pacified. Then Nitai tries the third thing. He said, actually Madai was going to kill me, but Jagai saved me. That's when the chakra disappears. And Lord Gauranga is pacified. And he tells Jagai, if you have saved Nitai from being killed, then I can give you forgiveness. So he picks up Jagai, embraces Jagai, and then he tells, and in the meantime Nityanand Prabhu is praying for forgiveness for both Jagai and Madai. So he, Lord Chaitanya embraces him and then tells that I'm going to bestow the crest jewel of all liberation upon you. I'm going to give you Krishna Prema. Then he places, Jagai, he takes Gauranga's feet and he places it on his chest, and Mahaprabhu presses it gently. And now, can you imagine Gauranga putting his feet on somebody's chest and embracing? By now Jagai is like, he's showing him symptoms of ecstasy. His hair is standing on the ends, there's tears incessantly flowing from his eyes, his voice is choking up, he can't even talk, his whole entire body is trembling. Jagai drops unconscious on the floor. And then Gauranga, he brings him back to consciousness. And Madai has never seen Jagai so happy. This is a state we actually cannot imagine, so I'm not even trying to explain more. And Madai was also a Brahman, right? He was born into a Brahman family. So somewhere in his subconscious, those, the lectures which he might have heard as a kid, they start coming back. And he recognizes that this person standing in front of me is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he knew that this person is death personified. So Madai makes an appeal. He makes a plea. And actually Jagai and Madai were like one soul, two bodies. So he's seeing that Jagai is transformed and happy, and I'm about to get killed. So Madai says that whatever I have done, he has done. Every single crime that I have made, he has done. Every single illegal, corrupt thing that I did, he was with me. So you are giving him mercy, but you're giving me punishment. Gauranga said, he protected Nitai. You were about to kill Nitai. Then Madai reminds him that as Krishna, you have liberated so many demons who came to kill you. So Gauranga catches him at that point. He said, those demons came to kill me. I can forgive. But you have tried to harm my devotee, and that I cannot forgive. He said, the only way you can be forgiven is by asking forgiveness to Lord Nityanand. So Madai falls down at the feet of Nityanand Prabhu. And Nityanand Prabhu says, my dear Lord, I am not an independent, this is not my thing, If you forgive him, then he is forgiven. So here also Nityanand Prabhu is kind of, showing that his mood is that of a servant. He is not coming in the mood of a lord. So Chaitanya Gauranga forgives him and Nityanand forgives him, and then Mahaprabhu embraces Madai, and he tells everybody that their sinful life is now over and nobody should consider their past. And he tells that you come with us to the house of Srivas for Kirtan. And Kirtan at Srivas's house was a very intimate affair. It was not a public thing. Can you imagine that assembly had Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar Pandit, Srivas, Nityanand Prabhu, and few other selected devotees, and Jagai and Madai were given entrance into that Kirtan? It's like, like a GBC meeting and then somebody like us gets an access to it kind of a thing. And he, at Srivas's house, Gauranga, Lord Gauranga, he embraces Jagai and Madai and he tells that I am taking away all their sin. I am taking out all of the sin. And when he says that, his body turns from golden to a little black, and he asks, what do I look like? And Advaita Acharya says, you look like Krishna now. Now Mahaprabhu, Lord Gauranga, has taken away all the sin of Jagai and Madai. We are going to switch the scene a little bit and go to a different planet. In Yamloka, Yamraj's assistant is Chitragupt. And Yamraj asked Chitragupt, do you have a record of sins committed by Jagai and Madai? He said, don't ask me. Don't ask me. He said, I have a department exclusively for logging Jagai and Madai's sins. The staff is overworked. They are at the end of their nerves. And Jagai and Madai have committed sins faster than my scribes could write it down. They are just completely losing it. And he says that this huge mountain of records is Jagai and Madai. And he said, you might as well just take this whole thing and put it into the bottom of the ocean. Listening to this, can you guess what happened? It was really interesting when I heard it in the lecture. Yamaraj faints. It takes a lot for Yamaraj to faint, because from the time immemorial he's seen pretty much everything. Yamaraj becomes unconscious, and again it takes a lot to get Yamaraj to faint. And when Yamaraj gets, when Yamaraj drops on the floor, like everybody just comes there. So Brahma is on one side, Shiva is on one side of Yamaraj, and they're screaming into his ears, Hari, 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 Hari. And doing that, they bring him back to consciousness. And as I was listening, I was, trying to analyze in my head that Yamloka, there's description of hellish planets in Canto 5 of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5 or 6, 5, I think 5 of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's a pretty scary description. Like there's a furnace going on and entities going into the furnace and their skin being peeled off, and so can you imagine how depressing the Yamlok's mood must be? And suddenly there is like, Hari, 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 Hari. And Yamaraj gets up and listening to Hari, Hari and listening to mercy of Lord Gauranga on Jagai and Madai, he starts jumping and dancing in ecstasy. Looking at him, all the Yamdutas start jumping and dancing. Chitragupt starts jumping and dancing in ecstasy. And Mahadev, he said, I drank poison, but this is really, this just puts that episode also, into secondary. And Mahadev with his, matted hair and all his jata and everything is like jumping and dancing. And Brahma with his 4 heads is jumping and dancing. All the demigods are jumping and dancing. There's Indra, Vayu, Surya, Chandra. And Indra is actually thanking Gautam Rishi. He said, Gautam Rishi, you know what? You cursed me to have eyes all over my body. Today I'm actually happy because all you guys with just 2 eyes, you're watching the mercy of Gauranga on Jagai and Madai. I'm drinking in much more. I have eyes all over my body. So this was the mood in Yamloka. And our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, he embodied the mood of Nityanand Prabhu. Like Mahaprabhu instructed Nityanand Prabhu, go house to house, door to door and preach without considering who's fit and who's unfit. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur instructed Srila Prabhupada that you publish the Vedic literature in English language and go to the Western world and distribute this message. So I could see that immediate, parallel between the two. Jagai and Madhai, after this incident, they were completely transformed. Madhai was feeling very despondent about all the past things that he had done. And at that point, of course, it was sudden and he was transformed. But as they started chanting, they were chanting 200,000 names of Krishna every day after this incident. He approached Nityanand Prabhu and he said that I still feel very guilty in my heart for what I have done. And Nityanand Prabhu said that just like how during a play, a child might hit his parent, and even if it hurts a little, the parents don't take it seriously. So I am not bothered. You were my child before, you are still my child, and I have not, taken this in any bad respect or manner. So I don't want you to feel guilty. And he said, Nityanand Prabhu, this is your mercy, but I feel guilty that there are so many people who I have offended. I don't even have a chance to go and seek an apology and express my apology to them and seek forgiveness. So Nityanand Prabhu instructed that you go to the ghat, the banks of Ganges, and you serve everybody who comes there. And Jagai and Madhai, they went there, they helped build a proper ghat. They, whoever would come there, they would try to serve. They would carry the bags, carry the shoes, and help those people. And again, there were people who got transformed seeing Jagai and Madhai's transformation, but there were people who were still angry. They would pick up stones and hit them. And Madhai, he would get hit, and what he would do is, he would pick up the stone, go to these people, put the stone on their hand, and they say, I deserve more, do it again. And seeing that, more and more people became transformed. So Lord Nityanand's mood and spirit that if Jagai and Madhai become devotees, then the glories of my Lord will spread everywhere, it came true. So it's not possible to discuss the glories of Lord Nityanand, even with Ananta Sesha, if his millions and millions of mouths was going, eternity would still not be enough. We are on a schedule today. So this was one pastime where Jagai and Madhai were transformed by Lord Nityanand. There were many other devotees also who received the mercy of Lord Nityanand. Kal Krishna Das Kaviraj and Chota Haridas, they both did some immoral activities, and Nityanand Prabhu was trying to still get them service. And Prataparudra Maharaj, Raghunath Das Goswami, and Rup Goswami and Sanatan Goswami also, that meeting was instrumented by Nityanand Prabhu. So he was instrumental in many people getting mercy of Lord Gauranga. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he decided to take sannyas, he called Nityanand Prabhu and he confided in him. He shared his heart's desire. And when he told Nityanand Prabhu that I want to take sannyas, Nityanand Prabhu was very sad. He was young. His mother Sachi Mata was a widow, and Vishwarup had already left home, and his wife Vishnu Priya was very young that time. And Lord Gauranga said that you and I appeared to deliver the people of their fallen situation. There are people who look at me as householders and they ridicule me, and the fever is just increasing. It's not going away. If I take sannyas, these people will bow down to me, they will take whatever I am saying more seriously, and then they will be delivered. So we've heard that Nityanand Prabhu had a wild side to him. He was mischievous. After hearing this, he went into a lonely spot and he just cried and cried and cried. He was so sad listening that Gauranga is going to take sannyas. Then in Katwa, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took sannyas, and just in the middle of the night, Gauranga left home, and only Nitai was there. Only he had shared just with Nitai. And next morning, all the devotees who would go to Nimai's house, they went to his house as their morning routine. And Sachi Mata sat in the middle of the courtyard, practically motionless. And they asked, where is Nimai? Where is Nimai? And she said that, Nimai, my son, is your property now. And then they understood what had happened. And Advaita Acharya said, I'm going to the Ganges and I'm going to jump into it. Nobody come to stop me. And the other associate said, we are not going to stop you. Who's stopping you? Who told you we're stopping? We are coming with you and jumping into the Ganges with you. So that time, there was a voice from the sky, Akashvani, that, do not feel despondent. Your Lord is going to dance with you in the Kirtan again. As soon as Lord Gauranga took sannyas, and now he is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to go to Vrindavan. He wanted to go to Vrindavan when he had taken his first initiation also. But Lord Nityanand knew Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart. So he orchestrated the situation in such a way that he invited all the devotees and Sachi Mata to Advaita Acharya's house. And there the devotees requested that you stay in Puri. Lord of Vrindavan, Krishna, resides in Puri as Jagannath, and if you stay, and Sachi Mata also said that if you live in Jagannath, then I will also get to hear about you. And Mahaprabhu agreed to that. So I shared this point because sometimes externally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would say something or do something, but his heart's desire was a little different, and Lord Nityanand was the one who completely understood that, and he orchestrated the situation to go in accordance with that. So we can end the discussion today thanking Srila Prabhupada for being a carrier, messenger of Lord Nityanand's mercy. I can talk of myself here. I was born, brought up in India, and we grew up listening to stories of Krishna, Ram and Balram. But Gaur Nitai, true to their name, the hidden avatar, the Chan avatar, I had never attended a program or a kirtan about the glories of Lord Gauranga and Lord Nityanand. So, end the discussion today thanking Srila Prabhupada for giving this knowledge to us. Shri Nityanand Ram ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande. We have 10 minutes for comments or question answers. Yes,
so we say that Lord Nityananda is Lord Balaram. Is there any difference between Nityananda and Balaram and Nityananda's activities? Is there a specific difference between Balaram and Nityananda?
So Balram, with one, he wanted to he killed Dhenukasura. He just spun him and killed him out of giddiness. And then he struck Pralambasura in one blow. Pralambasura was gone. And Romaharshana Suta, he picked up a blade of grass and Romaharshana Suta is gone. Bal means strength and Ram means pleasure. So Balram means one who gets pleasure in display of strength. During the pastime where Krishna's son was kidnapped by the Kauravas, the Lakshmana and Samba episode, Lord Balram, he took his plow, he struck it into the border of Hastinapur, and he started dragging the entire Hastinapur to drown it into the river. So all these show that Balram really is like a no-nonsense person. And he was taking demons, he was killing demons, taking demons to task. But Nitai, instead of killing, he takes the blade of grass between his teeth and he goes from person to person saying that chant Krishna's name. You know, Krishna is your father, Krishna is your mother, worship Krishna. Everybody steps on grass. Grass is a really dirty thing because everybody's shoes go on it. When somebody holds a grass between their teeth, that they are this is a show of humility. It shows that they are genuinely very humble. Nobody likes to put grass, nobody likes to put even spinach in their mouth, like for raw spinach, forget grass. So putting grass in the mouth means taking a very humble and low position. So while Balram is, Nityanand is same as Lord Balram, but the mood is very different. Balram, as I said, he was a no-nonsense person. Okay, Kauravas, you are saying this for the Yadus, you are blaspheming the Yadus, the entire Hastinapur is just going to go down into the water. But here is Nitai, he's bleeding, he's struck on the head, and he's not getting angry. His heart is filled with kindness and compassion to deliver the person who has, who's caused this harm to him. Does that answer your question? Parama Karuna Bahudui Jana.
Akroda Paramahamsa
Nityananda Ram.
He doesn't get angry.
Yes. Parama Karuna Bahudui Jana Nitaye Gaurachandra Sab Avatar Sara Shiromani Kevala Anandakanda. So he's kind and compassionate and he distributes happiness. Yes, sir. Yes.
I have two questions, just a question. One is, where did you get this part chastising of Yamaraj?
I heard lecture by my Guru Maharaj. No.
And then the other thing is the butter. Nityananda is like butter.
That's also from his, from a 2015 lecture transcript that I can share with you.
Now I wasn't sure how he was like butter. Other people seem to melt, but he didn't melt. Butter is what melts. So I'm not sure how he was.
I think what Guru Maharaj meant was that he was soft like butter. And how, he was basically soft like butter. And like as a child, and people would like to hold him in their laps.
The same description is given of Krishna in Krishna Leela, that Krishna's body was so soft that when Mother Yasoda would embrace Krishna, it would be like they merged together. So I think it's the same movement.
Yeah. The butter thing is from a 2015 lecture, and the Yamaraj thing is from a 2018 lecture. Those I can share with you. Yes, please.
Jagai and Madai, they were rascals.
They were
molesting the people at that area.
Prabhu, can you say that again? Sorry.
They were molesting and killing people.
Yes. They were molesting and killing people. Yeah.
So when they changed,
When they transformed when Madai attacked Nityanand Prabhu.
Okay. I mean, when they transformed, people don't believe them. So when they were trying to sell people who come to the riverside, they were trying to, beat them or kill them or do something to them. I want to throw more light on that point where they were trying to sell the people and give them, and they received some punishment.
Ankur, did you get that?
Yeah, so Prabhuji is asking that initially their mood was, they used to hit people, but then after the transformation, when they went to Ganga and they wanted people to actually punish them. So Prabhuji wants you to shed more light on that transformation.
Okay. So,
I don't know what the question is.
Ankur.
Can you say it?
So question is, Prabhuji is asking that initially they were killing and molesting and doing all these sinful activities, and after they were transformed and they were serving people at the ghat of the Ganges river, even though people were hitting them, they were tolerating it. So he wants me to shed more light on that. Correct? Yeah. So Prabhu, when they were chanting 200,000 names of Krishna every day. And when you do that sincerely, you are genuinely transformed. Sometimes if there is an argument or a rebuttal between two people, and one says, okay, I'm sorry, and the other says, okay. Just think of a sibling fight, like, and a parent trying to intervene. Say sorry. All right, I'm sorry. All right, you're forgiven. So this wasn't like that. They were genuinely transformed. When they were at the ghat of the Ganges river and people were hitting them with stones, Madai accepted that he deserved that punishment. And that happens when you genuinely are very humble. There is genuine humility and there is a show of humility. They were genuinely very humble. Madai accepted that I am fallen, I have committed these crimes and I should be punished. I should be punished even more than this. And they would go and they would give the stone back to these people and say, hit us again. And seeing this, people's heart were transformed. Some people got transformed seeing that they are transformed. Some people got transformed by confirming that yes, they truly have transformed. Does it answer your question?
Can I add something about the butter?
Yeah.
When you're cooking, say you're cooking a simple grain like buckwheat or quinoa, it's plain, it's dull, bland. You add butter, it has a certain sweetness and a certain fulfillment to it. So with the butter, Krishna is like butter for us. The names of the Lord is like butter to us. It adds a certain sweetness. It adds a certain fulfillment to our lives. We see that time and again.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
What's bread without butter?
Any other question or comment? Okay. Srila Prabhu, is the offering just going on the altar? So, Pyare Prabhu, what do you want me to do? Like finish or? Okay. Alarnath.
He's going to tell you what he wants you to do.
You mentioned you were bleeding from Lord's heart. So how you can started?
Say that again, Alarnath Prabhu.
So when Lord was hit on his head, he was bleeding. So how can you understand that? Because he is just Sachidananda Gita. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered in Jagannath Puri. What happened to Lord Nityananda?
Oh, you saying why he was bleeding when his body is Sachidananda?
Yeah.
So Prabhu, this is his Leela. Like when there is a lightning, Krishna gets scared and he runs to Mother Yashoda. He cries because he is hungry. He says, I want milk. So that's his Leela. Although his body is spiritual, eternal, not material, but for the sake of the pastime, he bleeds and he gets hungry and he gets scared and he gets thirsty for the sake of the pastime. So, say that again.
How did Lord Nityananda depart? Lord Chaitanya departed.
Oh, Lord Nityanand, he merged into the deity of Bankim Rai.
We're going to have a bhajan.
Bhajan now? Okay. Lord Nityanand Ram ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.